I have been helping MLK for a long time, and I like helping the teachers. It is not right to take away the budget from MLK. Thank you.
Hi, my name is DeMarcus Gray. I'm a 7th grade student at Martin Luther King Junior Middle School. In student announcements in homeroom, when I first heard that they were taking away the school budget, or they may be, my first thing I did, I yelled, "What?" in the middle of class. And I had so many questions about why it was happening, and I also wanted to know how we could stop it. In class, we had papers that we could sign and give to the school board, but I felt like it wasn't enough. So I asked a few teachers if I can come here and actually speak to the school board and actually prevent $300,000 of ours from being lost. A lot today we talked about peer resources, and at our school we have peer resources too. But if we lose all of our money, like most of our budget, then how will we be able to keep up with peer resources and keep on doing that? So in class, I went around asking teachers, and I was like, how can I stop this? When I got my feedback, I was like, yeah. So we by the end of this meeting, I hope that the school board and everybody who knows about this can figure out a way to stop this, because I know that there's not enough enrollment. But just because there's not enough enrollment doesn't mean you could take away some of the school budget. Sorry.
Hello, good evening. My name is Rex Ridgway. I am a grandfather of I have a fan base too. I'm the grandfather of a seventh grader at MLK. Her name is Jocelyn, and I've been a volunteer since she has started kindergarten, all the way up through MLK. I am the MLK PTA president, and I'm on the site committee. So obviously, you know why we're here, and we're asking for you guys to reconsider the budget cut of $300,000. Josie was accepted to a private school going into this year, but after talking to the teachers and seeing what's going on and her ability to get to Lowell High School through MLK, we chose to keep her at MLK. And now with the budget cuts, I don't know if we made the wrong decision or not. So we really need you guys to keep that money there. As they say, I have a puppy in this fight. And she not only wants to go to Lowell High, but she wants to go to Cambridge. And I said, Massachusetts? She said, no, Cambridge University in England. So she has high expectations. So I will say, and then I asked her to come, you need to speak. And she said, no, I don't want to come. I said, why? She says, because I have to finish my homework. I said, okay. And then she said to me, and this is a true statement, are you going to give them one of those Al Pacino speeches? And I said, no, I'll just say what I always say to you. Opportunity doesn't knock. It only opens when you knock. And they're here knocking to keep this money on the table and for MLK. I'll close with this by saying, if you judge a fish by its ability to climb a tree, it'll go through its whole life thinking it's stupid. So therefore, don't squeeze us to climb a tree. Keep this money available for these kids, please.
Hello, my name is Sasha Nielski. I teach 8th grade math and science at MLK. I'm also going to be reading a letter from a student. They wanted me to share this. They said they'd be here themselves, but they have a softball game. This feels really disappointing. Some of these students already have connections and relationships with these teachers. We wouldn't want to lose these teachers. Also, these teachers are supporting us to learn from our mistakes. We know our school isn't perfect, But still, other schools like Presidio and Hoover have a lot of money. We see that they have a lot of things, not like us. These schools have a lot of fun with their teachers. Their classrooms and bathrooms are clean, but our benches are broken, our basketball nets are broken, our desks are broken. We have to use the boys' bathrooms or the cafeteria bathrooms because the girls' bathrooms are broken. It's not fair that they're going to take away money because they want to send it to other schools. That makes me feel really disappointed. They're showing us that the district doesn't care. They don't care about our opinions. We have a voice and we should have a say. We are kids, we get it. You adults know things, but we should have a say. Thank you.
Before the next speaker goes, I just want to say something. Usually we don't comment during public comment and we don't respond back. I'm going to tell you a couple of things. A couple of you have said the superintendent's office is cutting our budget. My hope is that tomorrow morning you'll go and talk to your principal. There has been no notice whatsoever from my office about your budget being cut. Secondly, you talked about, sir, in the front, you talked about taking the cut back or not doing the cut. We have not proposed a cut for your school. We have not communicated a cut to your school. And this is for everyone. Then the rest of you can continue to share your comments, but we have not proposed a cut for your school. The one thing we know is that, yes, your school is currently, well, somebody said something about attendance. It's not about attendance, it's about enrollment, and your school currently is under-enrolled. But at this point, the direction from the board, what they wanted us to do was make sure that if we are going to have to make cuts, so that we do it in the most fiscally responsible way possible. And right now, all we're doing is looking. We know that it's under-enrolled, but no proposal for $300,000 or any other number has been proposed to your school. And I guess what really saddens me is that announcements are made at your school. Students have just said announcements were made at your school about cuts. I heard a letter is sent home saying we are proposing making cuts. We have not proposed a cut from your school. So the rest of you can continue. We'll continue to listen, but I need you to understand the facts. We have not proposed, and it saddens me that it has taken on this mushroom-like effect and spread all out that we have proposed this cut when if you go to your school tomorrow and ask Mr. Essien if he has received anything from my office regarding we're taking $300,000 from your school, or if we propose a cut at all. You ask him tomorrow morning. I wasn't going to because I don't. If this we wouldn't. I just wanted. We had heard so much, but what I don't want to do is right.
We can't have a discussion about it. I don't want to have a discussion. I just want to make a comment about it.
I think Ms. Hoke, do you have?
Yeah, board members, so we have to be really careful. This isn't agendized tonight. So while you do have to legally hear from members of the public, and I know you want to, you cannot legally have a discussion about their comments unless it's noticed on the agenda.
So continue. If you still want to speak, you're in line, but continue.
Good evening. I did put this happen, so I think the fact that just the thought came to us, it's triggering. I stood here 3 school years ago, and said some very similar things and asked some similar requests. And so I do believe that this just goes to show the strength of our students, our families, our staff, and the lengths that we will go to fight for our students. We are standing here today for our students, and I just want to refocus that. They made art today to respond to this, and they're holding it up.
And students today, this is their future. It's not just a matter of one moment, one school year. It is
shaping the experiences that they're going to have as adults too. And I'm proud of every one of you who are here today speaking on behalf of MLK. And thank you for listening.
Thanks, Marissa. My name is Tamar. I'm the peer resources teacher at MLK. And I want to thank everyone for listening and thank you for the clarifier. I think that what Marissa said about this being a little bit triggering for us might have been from a complex history of systemic inequity in our district that I think we're all aware of and we're all trying to fight. And everyone in this room wants what's best for the students, we know that. And I think that as we say, one of our core values is social justice as a district, and we stand with those that are most vulnerable in our community. And I think what's important here is we need to take extra steps in this system to take care of those that need it the most, and to face that inequity. MLK is changing and growing, and we still have a long way to go, and it's a place that I want to continue to build to be the place that I'm going to send my children to as they grow up. So I hope that as discussion goes on and decisions are made, some of the schools that are still building will continue to get that extra love and attention. Thank you.
Good evening. Oops, sorry. My name is Leslie Hu, and I work at MLK Middle School. Dr. Matthews, I really appreciate that conversation, and I really want to invite folks, whoever that might be, to continue that conversation, because that's not the messaging that we've been getting or the communication that we've been getting. So our community has been told to cut $300,000 from our budget this year, and this has brought up so many questions and concerns for our entire community. I feel really frustrated that this is happening to our community again. Several $100,000 were cut from our school community, and we had to come down here in March of 2017, and here we are again fighting a similar battle. I feel frustrated that several colleagues of mine are worried about their jobs and their ability to stay at MLK. I feel frustrated that fear, uncertainty, and mistrust have creeped into our community. I feel frustrated that it feels like a larger system is shortchanging our youth and families. I feel frustrated that MLK students who live primarily in 94124 and 94134 are getting resources taken from them again. And I feel frustrated that the system feels like it's perpetuating inequity and school segregation. But even worse than the frustration and anger is the confusion that I feel. I just don't understand why our enrollment numbers are 50 less students this year when they have been steady at around 500 to 520 for the past 9 years, and I have exact numbers for that. I don't understand the reasoning behind the additional slots that were opened up at other middle schools. I don't understand why we aren't being held harmless according to the resolution providing SFUSD schools the means to close the opportunity gap. And I don't understand why there hasn't been more communication back in early June or even earlier when we were working on our master schedule and there were 30 less students in our 6th grade. I understand and agree that funding should follow students, but we just want clarity. We want a conversation, and we really invite people to come to our school community, see what we do, see how we do school, and to clear up any misconceptions. Thank you.
Hi, I just want to start by saying that I'm really proud of all the students that showed up today, all the families that showed up today, all the staff that showed up today, and also the parents who are here who might not even have students at MLK, who also speak on our behalf. That really warmed my heart. So whether or not what we've been hearing is true, I still think that that's a beautiful thing, to all be here and be unified. And so I'm still proud to be here and speaking on behalf of students, whatever direction it goes. So my name's Anna Roberts. I started being involved in SFUSD 6 years ago. I was part of SFTR. I student taught at Viz Middle School, and I've been at MLK since then. So I felt like it was important to be here and to represent the students, because that's why we're all here in the first place. And so at MLK, we've been really intentional about starting the school year with community building. We've committed to holding regular community circles, and one of the most touching ones that I was part of was actually one that my students recommended, because they felt like they weren't part of feeling like they were being included. And so it was really touching to talk with 6th graders about what steps we can take to stand up for each other, to make sure that every person in the classroom is being included. And I've seen that ripple effect. And so I have a personal story of a student who started off the year being really frustrated. He told me that he hates school, and I asked him why, and he said that he wanted to be at home, he'd rather be playing video games. And I was like, okay, what have teachers done in the past that have supported you? And he said, nothing, I hate teachers. And this week, this student was leading a group of students in an activity with a map, going around with a compass, and being fully involved. He's coming in during lunch to get help on his homework. And these are things that take time. These are things that are intentional, and it's trust that has been built during the time at MLK so far, and it's going to continue to take time, and I would just hate to see those relationships ripped apart if we do lose staff at our school.
My name is Elizabeth Albert, and this is my 8th year at the district, my 7th year with MLK as a special education teacher. And I want to tell you some of the amazing things that are happening at our school that are funded by our school site budget. We have increased counseling support, which means that when students are escalated, they can have a counselor come to them instead of having to leave their school community, and they can receive support. New teachers are getting support from our instructional reform facilitator and our instructional leadership team. This means that there's been less teacher turnover at our school, which means that students are getting experienced teachers, and these teachers are getting PDs to support them in developing rigorous lessons. It also means that students and teachers can build relationships over time. I work mostly with 8th grade, but I go on 6th grade field trips, and by the time I see kids in 8th grade, I already have a relationship with them because I've been there and I know their families. I've taught their siblings. I've also seen teachers implementing project-based learning, which means that students can engage no matter how they learn, whether they're auditory learners or visual learners. They have a chance to feel successful at our school. We're starting to host more community events, such as our biannual STEAM nights, where students can showcase their work for their parents and other community members. I am really, really proud of all the students who spoke today, and I think that there's a lot of good things happening at MLK, and I really want to see them continue. Thank you.
Hi everyone, good evening. My name is Ganan Rocha and I am a teacher at MLK Middle School. I first joined the community about 3 years ago through SFTR and I've been student teaching there. And I have about 7 packets of letters for school board members that students have written. Our students are pretty amazing. And so I want you to know something. I've seen students grow, trust, and rely on a system that historically doesn't work for them. And as a teacher of color, I've been in that system. And there's a reason why I've stayed at MLK. A $300,000 budget cut could directly impact our community, and it ignores the SFUSD's values of prioritizing student needs. We've incorporated all these amazing systems that I just want you to know our students really rely on. Everything we do is student-centered and student-focused, and we are reflective about the work we do. I feel frustrated that our community is going through this, even if there was somewhere along the way a misunderstanding. I feel stressed that our students are scared that their stability will be gone. I feel stressed that our students are here on a Tuesday night, Wednesday night fighting. I feel overwhelmed that as a second-year teacher of color, I'm spending my time at this board meeting fighting for our community instead of curriculum planning for my students. I urge you to show our students that organizing has an impact by keeping our community funds. I urge you to validate our students' feelings by keeping our community funds. And I urge you to demonstrate to our students that they matter. Because ultimately, we're here for them. Thank you.
My name is Colleen Sampson. I'm a 6th grade resource specialist here at MLK too. And I do want to make one point of clarification. All of the preparation that took to be here together from students, teachers, parents, has been driven by students, teachers, and parents. This is not something that was a top-down admin communication to us. So, this isn't my first board meeting. I was here a few years ago. So this is now the second time in 3 years that I've gotten the news that our community is at risk of losing hundreds of thousands of dollars. And on the one hand, it's upsetting to be here because I'm confused, even a little bit more confused. I'm not sure why some schools are being over-enrolled while ours is not. I'm confused why we're just finding out about that now after school has already started, after we've established a master schedule, developed our professional development calendar, come together as a staff for an oversight mindset retreat, and built community in each and every homeroom at our school. And I'm even more confused now that maybe there's confusion over the amount of money. It is upsetting to be here again because despite the incredible progress we have made as a community, the majority of our students are not reading on grade level, and we face a lot of challenges. How can we possibly afford to cut money when there is so much work to be done? The work being project-based learning in every classroom, peer resources, art integration, reading interventions so that all students can be successful, STEAM night, teachers giving up lunch to spend more time with students, field trips like the 6th grade camping trip or the 8th grade LA college trip. All of these things are possible because MLK shows up and goes above and beyond for our students. And as you can see tonight, they go above and beyond for us too. We need more support, not less.
Hi, my name is Jennifer Profounds, and I'm an 8th grade teacher at MLK. I love teaching at MLK because our school is a community, and over the 6 years that I've taught at this school, we've worked really hard together to fight for progress in the face of budget cuts, turnover, and the challenges of working in a school system that is extremely segregated. I'm proud to say that some of the changes we've made have actually led to gain for students, both in terms of testing, but also in terms of engagement. When we implemented push-in, we saw a dramatic increase in the time students actually spent in the class learning. When we started project-based learning, we saw students move out of the hallways and into the classroom. Some of y'all have actually been there to see how awesome it is when the students are deeply engaged in real-world, meaningful work. Budget cuts would basically make it impossible for us to continue with the push-in system. The system takes staffing, and as it is, we're stretched thin because of the last time that funds were taken away. The cuts would also make it nearly impossible to continue to grow with project-based learning programs at our school, and it would also contribute to instability for our students. I also want to be really clear about what students we're talking about. These under-enrollments are at schools at the southeast side of our segregated school district. And this means the money is getting cut from schools with lower income students, with more African American and Latino students, and more students who experience trauma. It seems pretty clear to me that the district made a mistake when they allocated seats for this school year, and I don't think it should be our most vulnerable students that pay. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Jackson Whittington. I'm an 8th grade history teacher at MLK. We were told at a staff meeting that it was possible we would lose 3 full-time teachers, that our master schedule would be changed, that we would lose our community partners, counselors. We were told that there was going to be $300,000 cut from not only our school, but $300,000 cut from Viz Valley Middle School, $600,000 cut from Willie Brown and James Lick. We were told that the information we were getting came from conversations with Commissioner Cook and Hahn, and names were dropped where this information was coming from. So I find it very hard to believe that this wasn't at least a conversation or work in progress. So I did notice some carefully chose language from Dr. Matthews saying that nothing came from your office. I didn't hear something that said no cuts are happening. So I think that was a little wordplay there. So it seems unlikely to me that we would be told this information if there were no cuts happening. Maybe there's some confusion, but something's going on. I attended SFUSD. I'm a product of SFUSD for better or worse. I went to Advocacy Middle School in the early 90s. At that time, we were reconstituted. And this is a different situation, obviously, but what I experienced as a student was adults were making decisions and changes were being made, and it was impacting the students with us really having no idea what was going on. So I think that's similar to what I'm feeling now. I actually chose not to talk to my students about the situation because I felt so confused about it, but the whole school is upset. It's a problem. Something's happening. We were told that slots were opened up at schools like Hoover, Aptis, Francisco, while we're losing 40 students. The schools I named that are being threatened with cuts are on the southeast side of the city. I don't think that's a mistake when the slots are being added to schools on the other side of the city. We all know the inequities that exist in the school district. Thank you.
Buenas tardes. Thank you for allowing us the time to express our opinions. For 10 years, I have lived, thrived, and struggled in this Ohlone land. And it's a shame that for these 10 years, we've been faced with budget cuts within our communities of color, specifically. I'm a 5-figure citizen in a 6-figure city. People like us can't afford these kinds of losses. As an educator and a humanitarian and solidarity with my students and fellow staff members, I'm here by duty to demand and plead that if you're not passing cuts, that you at least propose funding to our schools. If we can't foot the bill and provide welfare for tech companies, I don't understand how in the richest city in California, we can't afford to provide budgets to our schools. There is no excuse to not afford the same generosity that we afford to these tech companies to our children. We are tired of having the same conversations each year. Any support to our southeast communities will be greatly appreciated and felt for generations. Stop the gentrification of our communities by stopping the gentrification of our schools. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Kristen Law from MLK Middle School. I've worked at the school for 8 years now. The first 4 years as an 8th grade science teacher, and the past 4 years as the STEAM coordinator. I'm here tonight because I love this community. And my job is potentially on the line. I'm site funded. I'm site funded because our principal and our community believes in project-based learning as a means to change outcomes for our students. My role is to help our teachers and staff, students and families make the transition to PBL. We picked PBL as a new way of teaching and learning because we believe in student voice and choice. We are working hard to show them that their voices will be heard, uplifted, and can make change. We still have work to do. We are not there yet. But we certainly won't get there if the budget is cut. The silly thing about tonight is I feel like it doesn't really matter what our voices are saying because we've been here before, and the last time we were here, nothing changed because of it. The budget cuts that were proposed in 2017 went through. And luckily, our principal and our community figured out a way to make our budget work. But potentially, we are facing another cut. You may not know me, and you may not know my role or my work, but I know you know our students. I know you know the demographics of our school, who we serve. And no matter the reason behind the changes in enrollment, the perception is that our students and community voices don't matter as much as other students and communities in this city. Prove me wrong by doing the right thing. Do no harm to our budget. Do no harm to our community. We've already laid the groundwork for a year of growth and learning and opportunity for our students at MLK. Listen to our voices. Show our students that their voices can make a difference and can make change. Thank you.
Hello. Hello. My name is Katie Hugo Holman, and I teach integrated arts at MLK. And the information that I had sounds like it might not be totally correct, but it does sound like there are going to need to be some fiscally responsible decisions made, if I understood correctly. So I didn't mean it as, I meant that, I didn't mean it for a laugh. Sorry, I'm going to get embarrassed. And so, sorry, when I thought that I had the information, I wanted to look at I'm going to get so embarrassed now, sorry. I wanted to look at what schools we thought were going to get the cuts, and it's all on the southeast side of the city, and what those schools' populations look like. And so I drew it out, and all four that I thought were getting the cuts have the highest percentage of population of student bodies that are African American. 3 of the 4, I lost it. Two have the highest socioeconomically
disadvantaged percentage of the population, 2 highest Latinx percentage of the population, and 3 have the lowest percentage of white students across traditional 6 through 8 middle schools. So I just want to make sure that when those decisions are made, that I'm bringing it up, that while fiscally responsible and we understand that money follows students, that we also look at what those decisions, like how they impact certain communities more than others, and that we make sure that we're just responsible for our students, because our students, no matter where they come from, are incredible. And I can speak that way about MLK students personally, but I know that the other schools that we were expecting to receive cuts would say the same about their students. So thank you for listening, and I hope when you do have to make decisions that that's taken into account.
Hi, my name is Brandy. I'm speaking on behalf of Jenny De La Paz. She's a parent at MLK. I was told that she had a speaker card, but her statement is, hi, my name is Jenny De La Paz. I'm a mother of 3 kids in San Francisco Unified School District. I wanted to thank the members of the Board of Education for all they've done in a previous situation with Visitation Valley Elementary School. Their help to restore programs and staff for the benefit of the children are well received by the parents and students, and that's why she's writing this today, to plead for MLK Middle School. The kids deserve the opportunity to have a successful classroom to boost the success of their future, and she stands with the school, and she's pleading for the district not to remove programs or program funding for the students and families who need them. She only wants the best for MLK and for the people that help her community to thrive. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Raisa Ebner. I'm a math and science teacher at MLK Middle School. And I'm just here to present one fact, that schools with stable and consistent staffs have higher achievement rates for their students. At MLK, our staff turnover has been decreasing, which shows that we are doing the work to have a safe and stable school at MLK. And the district needs to be safe, stable, and consistent for our staff, our students, and our school.
Good evening. Thank you for your time today and listening. My name is Nikisha Kendall, and my role as the founder of Mindcatcher, I've had the privilege of supporting MLK in its transition to more student-led project-based learning over the past 4 years. I've seen Black and Brown students thrive and accomplish some pretty amazing things. From just an idea that they had in their head to full fruition, things like creating a basketball court-sized mural on their campus, documenting change movements in the Bay Area, to SPED students, budgeting, planning, cooking, and serving a gourmet meal to the entire MLK staff. None of that amazing work would be possible without the incredible relationships and structures that MLK has built with its staff and community, and definitely exhibited by all the young people that came out today. So as the district is considering how to manage the financial impact of the decrease in enrollment at MLK, I just implore you to think about how to keep the resources at MLK and resources that have helped MLK be a place where the voices of young people and their parents and their teachers matter.
Hi, my name is Samantha Weddy, and I teach 8th grade science at MLK, and I just want to read a letter from a student. Dear school leaders, I'm in 7th grade at MLK Middle School. Your decision impacts me as a student because if you're going to cut money from MLK just because you're opening places for students on the other side, this is unfair and is not helping to prove that you are following your values. I feel terribly disappointed because you are cutting off money because of your decision to open up places in other schools, especially on the east side of the district. This is not following your values because you are not standing by the vulnerable communities. Cutting money from already vulnerable communities is not going to help the community prosper. It will take away from our staff and resources and is not following your first value of being student-centered. This decision is not putting your students first. Instead, it is vice versa.
Hi, my name is Michael Johnson. I am a 7th grade math teacher. I think I'm just confused overall. I think MLK's worked their butt off over several years. And we're talking about tier 3, tier 2, so they go up from a tier 3 to a tier 2, and then we get hit with budget cuts that slap us right back down. It makes little sense to me. So I just wanted to read a letter from a student that also talks about that. So she says, I feel like this is unfair because you're giving more money to schools like Presidio Hill and other rich schools and taking money from us. It's bad enough this school is already broke. How are you taking more money away from us? The students here are very different from the students at the rich schools. If you ask for my opinion, I think we should get more money because the students here deserve more opportunities than the ones they already have. I'm talking about equity there. The students here feel like they have a limit to what they can do, and that's kind of bad because the students on the north of San Francisco are much more privileged. So please, let these adults keep their jobs. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Amber Ulrich and I am a 6th grade science teacher. As far as I'm concerned, the entire purpose of 6th grade science is to introduce kids to the fact that science can be really freaking cool. And it's not just something scary and, oh, I can't do that, I don't know anything about that. That's the mentality I saw in my high school classmates. I took anatomy 12th grade as an elective because I was super interested and I wanted to do it. And I had classmates say, oh, that sounds really cool, but I can't take that class. I don't know anything about it, I'll fail. And if in 6th grade we can introduce kids to the idea that, yeah, science is really awesome, but it doesn't matter if you get it right away because you can learn it. You can figure it out. I went into middle school with that idea because I loved science already. I watched all the nature documentaries, I watched how it's made, I watched all of those things that gave me that love of science. And so I went to a 7, 8, 9. I went into 7th grade science class already knowing that I could do it. And I sat with people who already knew that they couldn't. I am a 2nd year teacher. My 2nd year here at King, and I did my student teaching at Denman. One of my master teachers is in his 30th year of teaching right now at the same school. He taught the parents of his current students. And honestly, it scares the daylights out of me to think of already as a 2nd year teacher, the school I'm at is facing cuts that could keep me from being that 30-year, I can call your parents because I called your parents' parents teacher. That one of, I already know somebody coming into this school. It's scary, I'm moving, but oh yeah, Miss Ulrich is there. My brother had her class. My uncle had her class. My mom had her class. I want every single kid that walks into or out of my room to think, is that a cat skeleton? Let us do that, please.
Hello everyone, my name is Hunter Lin. My son Devin is an 8th grader at MLK Middle School. So growing up myself in San Francisco, I also attended the public schools in the Portola and Bayview Hunters Point district. If a budget cut is in discussion, it will definitely have some negative effects on the students. The schools in these areas are always getting the short end of the stick. Whenever this happens, it makes kids feel like nobody cares about them and just there's a lot of weight on their shoulders. So then they start to feel, why should they care? It's not fair to the kids and it doesn't help set them up for a successful future. This will definitely impact my son and the rest of the students at MLK because they will lose some of the faculty members that they've built a relationship with. And growing up in these low income districts and I went to Viz Valley, these relationships that you build with the counselors and some of the teachers can really make or break if you graduate or not. And I have lots of friends that's been through it as well. In addition to that, it can cut some of the extracurricular programs at MLK. Like I mentioned, I didn't go to MLK, I went to Viz Valley, but I lived in that neighborhood for 15 plus years, and I've seen how much that school has changed. I walk my son to school, I pick him up from school, attending the teacher conference. I can see how much it's changed from like the 90s, so that's all I have. Thank you.
Good evening, Commissioners. Thank you for the opportunity to speak here tonight. I'm a proud school bus driver, and I rode the school bus to and from public school here in San Francisco growing up. I went to Charles Drew, Luther Burbank, which is June Jordan now, and Francisco Middle School. I understand that the district is trying to implement solutions to improve challenges in pupil transportation. My concern is the 10 passenger or less vehicles and the ride-share platforms for kids that you're considering. I asked the board to consider this. According to the California Office of Traffic Safety, San Francisco is considered the number eight on the list of most hazardous cities to drive in the nation. SF ranks number 4 in the worst traffic in the world. And traffic accidents are the number 8 leading cause of death in the United States. The American School Bus Council firmly believes that school buses are the safest forms of transportation and only constituted 0.4% of accidents reported. 20% of that 0.4% are incidents that occurred around the vehicle, because passengers are most vulnerable when they are boarding and unboarding the bus and in the presence of other vehicles. This is why the traffic ticket for passing a school bus while the stop arm is out is almost $1,000. The public, even little toddlers, recognize school buses and associate the image with children in school. But a van or car with the logo slapped on the side of it is just another vehicle crowding the city streets and congesting the already jam-packed loading zones at schools. The shortage in school bus drivers is a problem. I feel bad when I hear parents speak that they couldn't get but it's not the driver's fault. Like, to maintain. Thank you.
Hello everyone, my name is Nancy Yee, and as I'm a San Francisco native and an educator at SFUSD in a trauma-sensitive school. I can't imagine what the impact would be if we had any type of budget cut at my school. MLK can lose key adult figures that make a direct impact on their students, especially students with social emotional needs. Their school's classroom may be the most stable place in their lives, and we would be taking away something that could affect them in such a negative way. Dr. Matthews, I have heard you speak multiple times, and you have repeatedly said that SFUSD keeps students in the center. So how can we keep our students in our center when we make these kinds of cuts that make it so hard for schools to do what they need to do to make a difference in the life of every single student they serve? Thank you.
Steve Zeltzer with United Public Workers for Action. I am really sickened about what is happening at Martin Luther King Middle School, because it's not the first time that it's been attacked. There's been incidents where the principal gave away the band instruments and shut down the music and art program at Martin Luther King School. There have been incidents where 17 faculty and staff have been bullied out of the school by the school management. Why are they being attacked? It's a racist attack. They're poor working class and minority students there. That's why they're attacking it. And yet this school board says they want equity. They want equity. Do they really want equity in this billionaire city when there are more billionaires than any place else? Now, the school president, board president, is interested in giving comments of Stokely Michael and other people. You know, Stokely. Carmichael. You know, he gave a comment about Alice Walker. And Alice Walker actually said, in the case of the mural, teach the mural. Don't paint it down. This board is going to spend $850,000 to cover a mural when it should go to Martin Luther King Middle School? What is going on in this school district? That's what we have to ask. And at the same time, you're attacking the school bus drivers. You want the students, the special ed students, to be on Uber, Zoom. Is that protecting the students in the city and county of San Francisco? This is what you want? Well, the fact of the matter is, and you want to spend a modification of $115,000 on the murals, the on-and-off murals. The reality is that money should go to students and the repair of that mural. I think that there's a duplicitous kind of thing going on here in the school district. This is the wealthiest school district in the world, San Francisco, with the wealth that we have here, and yet they're cutting the budget for poor working class minority schools. That is outrageous. It has to stop. And we have to hold the superintendent responsible who did the same thing in Oakland Unified School District when it was under trusteeship. Thank you.
Oh, hi. My name is Nancy Kyler. I'm also with UPA. Anyway, I really came here to talk about the mural, but I have to ask a question. Why isn't every school getting the same amount of money? I mean, why are we putting more money into better neighborhoods? It doesn't seem practical. It doesn't seem like it would work right. It doesn't work right. I'm from South Florida. They do the same thing in South Florida. Okay, the rich parents give to the school themselves, and they also get more money from the school boards. That's ridiculous. I mean, it doesn't work that way. It shouldn't work that way. And I'm here to talk about the murals, okay? If you see my shirt, this is from the Legacy Museum in Alabama, okay? It's about hanging, all of the hanging that took, and the lynching that took place with African Americans in the last 100 years. Okay, it's very famous now. It's in Montgomery, Alabama. I took my 12-year-old black son with his black father and me to see the museum, okay? He's 12 years old. He saw things those murals are just nothing compared to what he saw, and that we talked to him about it. Those murals need to have signage and explain why the dead Indian is there. He's dead because we killed him. The government killed him. Okay, that's why the dead Indian is there. George Washington is there pointing to the west because they're taking the land away from the Indians. So we have the Indians without land and dead, and we have the black people that we have prospered for 200 years with black labor. That's why we're the richest country in the world, is black labor. Anyway, so we have to keep our murals up. We have to teach our children and teach them with signage. Thank you.